In this video, we're going to show you a build of two houses that we are just embarking upon. The initial footage that I'm showing you in this video goes back 2 or 3 years because it actually took us to get to this stage about 3 years. It was a bit more complicated, the planning process in this instance. And what we're going to do over the next coming weeks and months is give you a weekly update as this build progresses. So in this video, we'll simply just show you the site itself, the plans that we have for it, and then when you come back to the next video, you're going to see the build actually starting.
Here we are at the site, and as you will see shortly when I start showing you the site, it's a fairly large site, and my opinion was that this was capable of holding two houses. However, it did have some planning in existence for one house, which was a fairly small footprint of only 91 square meters, and it was a single build, so it was a single height, should I say. So it was only 1 story high, a bungalow, a fairly intricate design for the amount of space, and my feeling was that it just didn't stack up for this area, and I felt that we could actually get two houses on this particular piece of land, and indeed we could then increase the footprint of the house and go up 1.5 stories. So in effect what we have is two houses of 150 square meters. So as you can see, there's quite a difference there, because essentially you've got almost 3 times, in fact more than 3 times the size of the house on the property, and this area would justify having these two 4-bedroom houses with good proportioned rooms, and so it just made the whole thing much more economically viable. And I think this is the danger sometimes of people who get a lot of free information, but they then don't get additional information. And I often say that free information is the most expensive information that you can get, because often you will end up making mistakes that would cost you multiples of what you could have benefited from if you had in fact paid for some of that information, some of that knowledge that other people have. So let's go and have a look around the plot and let you see where this project is going to start. Now, it seems unusual that you'd find a piece of ground like this. It's what's known as an infill plot, and in fact it was formerly prior to me buying this for the last several years a chicken run. Now in fact, actually there were houses similar to this style built on here. Let's just have a look at the piece of ground itself. One of the things is that I wanted to make sure that there was no overhanging wires. There are some wires there, but they're not sort of like pylons, so they don't pose any particular difficulty. It's a nice flat site. Now, the ground investigation report has actually revealed that in fact there's clay here, so there will be a little bit of trouble with water. That's something that needs to be looked into, and so that's a consideration and will perhaps have an effect on costs. As you see, it's a fairly big wide plot, nicely wide. If we have a look over here, you'll actually see that somebody else is building a house at the back here of this particular property. Now that's kind of important, because what that does is it establishes the idea that you can have a back infill plot. So you need to be looking at what's in the local area. One of the other factors that I always look for is how roof treatments are. So we can see that there's tiles on that house there. Over here that you will see there is also a tile roof there. And if we go back to the main street, that one that I pointed out earlier is a tile roof as well. In fact, I don't really see any slate roofs, so that obviously has a cost impact in as much as that we're not going to have to put a slate roof on here. And in fact, this new build here also has a tile roof, far cheaper, about 1/3 of the price of what slate would be. Now if we have a look at this wall, we'll see that there's actually a sort of park at the back. So hopefully that would mean that there's no danger of future development there. So looking at the site now, as you see, it's quite a distance there, and I shall give you measurements a wee bit later on the site. Anyway, that's the first look at the site, and we'll now move to the desktop to talk about our plans for the site and taking it through the first stage, which would be to get a planning approval. As I said, there's already planning approval for a house to be in the front part of this plot, small footprint, so we're looking to improve upon that situation.
As you'll see from this image here, we've drawn out the two house types that we are looking to put on there. Actually, the house types are identical pretty much, apart from the position of some of the windows. So here we have the two houses. This was the field at the back. Here, this is the main road, and we are required, because of planning regulations, as a 4-bedroom house, to have 3 car parking spaces. So those have been allowed, but they sit still well proportioned within that site. We went through various iterations of how the house should look, and this is the one that we settled for and put into planning. The house at the front was going to look like this, with the windows in the upstairs area. This is a 1.5 story house, being to the side, and then on the rear plot we were going to put a couple of dormer windows at the back to take advantage of the view out the back. Part of the reason that we didn't put these windows here was that so that we didn't overlook the neighbours in the other side of the street. However, when it went to planning, we had several objections, and one of the objections that was upheld was the positioning of these windows, and they asked us to put essentially skylights, roof lights on the front to accommodate the need for windows. And I then went back suggesting that we actually should introduce dormers rather than the skylight windows, because they would be better for use of the space within the house, and also it would put it pretty much in line with the house on the back plot, apart from the fact that the dormer windows would be at the different ends of the room. So in the back plot, the dormers were going to be at the back of the house, and on the front plot, they were going to be at the front plot. However, this caused another area here. As you will see, we had to lose the apex roof here and put in a flat roof, as it would infringe on the space for the dormers. And so therefore this is the design that we settled on, and therefore this is the design that we settled upon. Here's the building warrant drawings, and you can see that they now reflect this flat roof and the internal areas here. 2 bedrooms downstairs, 2 bedrooms up the stairs, a living room and a kitchen with ensuite there, a disabled access toilet, bathroom on the ground floor, and a further bathroom on the first floor. I mentioned earlier in this video, as the result of a ground investigation report, that there was clay, and this caused us difficulty of how we might dispose of the rainwater, and we put several proposals to the water authority on how we might mitigate this, and they pretty much accepted at one point that we could put the water into their sewer. However, they then later came back and they said that there was a burn or stream in this area here, and that we should run a pipe out through the property at the back of the other properties and into this burn. That meant gaining permission on this land here to be able to use that and do that dig, which we thankfully did get. So this did help hold up the planning application by about 15 months, and it's just one of the things that when you go for planning, you never know the difficulties that you might face. So that pretty much concludes our introductory video into this project. We're going to be filming the whole project from the start, so you'll see us breaking ground in the next video. Clearly there's a lot more that goes into the investigation of a site, making sure it's viable, but for the purpose of these series of videos, we would just really want to focus on the actual build and just give you basically being able to see the build progress week by week. So I hope you enjoy it. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, then please remember to subscribe now so that you get notified when each of these videos are released. Take care. Bye bye.